Have you ever played a game and gotten to a certain point, maybe a certain event, something that happens in the story, or maybe something in the gameplay that made you realize, wow, this game really is something special? I think it's safe to say a lot of us have had those moments with different games through the years, different experiences perhaps. For me, one of those moments was when I got to the second dream in Warframe. An instance that recontextualized everything that I thought I had known about the game at the time. Or when I played Devil May Cry 3 for the first time, and I got to the first fight with Virgil. The ultimate test of my motivation. Or hell, even as far back as Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, when you first pull the Master Sword out of the stone in the Temple of Time, and you're catapulted forward 7 years. The thing I like about gaming is that it's filled with these moments, these experiences that help you realize that there's something more going on here, there's something deeper beneath the surface. You know, it's the kind of thing that I feel like only gaming as a medium can really do. The kind of stories whose relevance grows and is enhanced by the interactive nature of gaming. Now, how many times have you had one of those experiences inside of a mobile game? Yes, you heard me right. A mobile game. There was a long period of time during which I, like many others, kind of underestimated, maybe downplayed what mobile games could and did do. You know, when I heard mobile games, I kind of had this expectation in my mind of something like PUBG Mobile or Candy Crush or Fruit Ninja. You know the type. The kind of games that, you could pass a little bit of time with, but I think it's safe to say there was never really any reason to dive deep because there was about as much depth as a puddle. Now, with that said, in recent years, mobile gaming has definitely broadened its horizons quite a bit. It's expanded to cover a much larger scope of games. Older games such as GTA San Andreas and Vice City, Knights of the Old Republic, and many of the Telltale games have all made their way onto mobile devices. But even with all that, some of the most prevalent games on mobile devices are gacha games. Whether it's an attempt to capitalize on the popularity of an existing franchise, or maybe an attempt at creating something new, gacha games are, without a doubt, some of the most polarizing types of games on mobile devices and just in gaming in general. And now I'm going to explain to you how one of these gacha games became one of my favorite games of all time. When I was introduced to Honkai Impact 3rd, it was through a friend's livestream. I was pretty well blown away by what I was seeing on the screen. It was flashy, it was intense, and it definitely didn't look like what I thought a mobile game was. In fact, it's safer to say it was more reminiscent of maybe Devil May Cry or Bayonetta than anything else that I had seen. And that was it. That was the hook. The thing that kind of pulled me in. Made me look at it and be like, I guess I'll check this out and see what it's all about. And so I went to the website, downloaded the PC client, and started playing for the first time. Starting in the first chapter, the gameplay was relatively simple but enjoyable, and the story felt fairly run-of-the-mill. But I had that carrot on a stick, the flashier gameplay that I had seen my friend engaging with that kind of drove me forward. And so I kept going. I unlocked more characters, progressed through the story, learned more about this world, learned about the deeper systems to the gameplay. While in Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, you would switch between your weapons to vary your movesets. In Honkai Impact 3rd, you would switch between the battle suits to change your moment-to-moment gameplay. And I just thought that was neat. And then I started to learn about things like the weapon skills and the stigmata sets, and I started to realize, man, this gameplay has a decent amount of depth to it. There was plenty of stuff that, as someone who didn't have money at the time, I could get just by playing the game. There were plenty of free battle suits and weapons and stigmata sets that I could farm up, as well as what probably amounted to a few $100s worth of the premium currency. Currency which I promptly used to roll for more waifus, gear be damned. And so I kept playing, learning more and more about the type counters and the buffs and debuffs and all the other intricacies of the combat system. But I guess I kept feeling like I knew this game had more to offer. And I wanted to see what that was. Before I start this next part, I want to preface with the fact that I have played a few gacha games before. I played Fire Emblem Heroes and Bleach Brave Souls, Brave Frontier, and even Summoner's War for a little bit. Something that all of those games have in common, as best I can recall, is that throughout the story, throughout pretty much all of the gameplay, at no point are you required to use any specific characters. Outside of one exception that I can think of, which is in Bleach Brave Souls, there's the Chronicle quest, which forces you to use a specific character, but it can be any variant of that character. However, in Chapter 7 of Honkai Impact 3rd's story, they start doing the opposite. They start making you use specific battle suits. In Chapter 6, you get kind of a taste of this. It gives you a max level trial battle suit to use, but it also lets you fill out your team with other battle suits. But as of Chapter 7, MiHoYo decides it's time to curate the experience a little more. For me, this was one of the first moments that I realized that Honkai Impact 3rd was different than other gacha games. And when it locked me into using the Scarlet Fusion battlesuit, I realized that the game was actually a video game. And it was time to tell a story in the way that only a video game could. In Chapter 8, the story builds and builds towards the inevitable climax. However, simply put, it's not the one that you expected it to be. You're then greeted by the second fully animated cutscene that the game has to offer. The first one was the short opening cutscene that played before the game's first mission. And this one, well, it immediately and definitively blows that one out of the water. I won't spoil exactly what happens during that chapter. The next chapter, though, Chapter 9, I will absolutely be spoiling right now. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I will have a timestamp on the screen telling you where to go to avoid all that. Towards the end of the chapter, Himiko, with the assistance of one of Fuhua's phoenix feathers, is attempting to gain control of the battlesuit Vermilion Knight. The TLDR is, this battlesuit will enable Himiko to take down Kiana and save her from the Hersher of the Void. The mission in which you fight to obtain control of the battlesuit is probably one of my favorite earlier missions in the game. And while it's nothing groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination, I feel it really kind of captures the emotions and the kind of moment that they were going for in the storytelling here. Himeko literally has to fight physical manifestations of these doubts and fears that are trying to hold her back. And while that's all well and good, and it's kind of a cool representation of what she's fighting for and fighting through, the real magic of this mission happens towards the end. After you fought through these first few manifestations, you make your way into a room where one more manifestation comes in. This one is much faster and more powerful than the others, easily able to kill you in a matter of seconds. However, you'll quickly find that as you reach certain HP thresholds in the boss's health, one by one the girls spawn in to assist you in your fight for just a moment. Kiana, May, Bronya, and Teresa all coming in to assist you, and to help demonstrate in that moment where it is that Himeko draws her strength from. It's beautiful, and it just hits different. Following the acquisition of the battlesuit, Himeko faces the Hersher of the Void and absolutely trounces her, giving Einstein and Tesla a window of opportunity to fire the Selene, further wounding the Hersher of the Void, and forcing her to retreat. It's after this that we are treated to the third major cutscene the game has to offer. Final lesson is many things. Painful, triumphant, beautiful, depressing. But most of all, final lesson is a tone setter. It helps you realize where the story is going moving forward. And then you find out in the following chapters the enormity of the consequences of the events that took place. Now, all that said, this is just the first of several moments in the game that made me realize just how special it was. There are dozens more that I can name off the top of my head, but I think I might save that for a different time. For now, I'll just say that Honkai Impact 3rd really is something special. In my opinion, the story is one of the best out there. And I really mean that. The story might start off a little bit weak in terms of delivery, however, MiHoYo really shows a sense of growth over time and an evolution in their storytelling, which, and I say this with absolute sincerity, blows me away anytime a new chapter comes out. I mean, hell, even as far back as the cutscene that comes with Chapter 15, I still get emotional every time I watch it. And Honkai just has so many of these moments kind of interspersed throughout, whether it be cutscenes, lines of dialogue, moments of narrative-infused gameplay that really exemplify what gaming can do. Honkai Impact 3rd has a lot to offer, and I strongly recommend that you check it out.